Suns fans, you know what time it is in the PHX.
Empire of the Suns.
Phoenix Suns.
Empire of the Suns.
Hello there, and welcome to the Empire of the Suns podcast. My name is Kellen Olson, joined as always by Kevin Zimmerman. What's up, man?
How you doing? Quick 3-game stretch here of solid opponents and mixed results, I would say. Where are you at?
Good results. I would say good results, and we've just now, again, I think I've started the podcast like this 2 or 3 times, where like the timing of our pod is always going to dictate the tone of the podcast, because if we would have done this like Saturday, would have been talking about the win of the year, amazing comeback against Minnesota, just a equal parts meltdown by Minnesota, and awesome resilience shown by the Suns. Then they take care of business against San Antonio. But last night they lost to the Rockets, and I think we finally have, arrived at the moment now where the Suns have gotten just about all they can from this group, as shorthanded as they are. And they just need guys to start getting healthy now. No, Mark Williams did not help last night on the second game of back-to-back, but I think even if Williams was in, they still would have seen the same problems that they had, similar problems that they had. Houston was incredibly aggressive in cutting off space for Booker in ways that we have seen in the past that good teams do. Minnesota was doing similar-ish kind of things. And when you play against playoff caliber teams that have continuity and know how to rotate defensively and have a lot of athleticism and have a lot of length, you're going to need other guys offensively to really step up. That's where in the past, earlier in the year, guys have been able to step up, but they really missed Grayson Allen in this game. And then even Jalen, but Jalen Green, that you felt his absence every game. And it's been more so a testament to how the season has gone that we haven't felt it more consistently. But last night was like the biggest example of not feeling, of missing him on the floor, because what he brings offensively, but also just like having an A+ athlete out there, because we were, the game was streamed on Peacock, and that meant, as you guys watching know, there was no local broadcast or whatever. So like you were watching on Peacock, or that was it. So we were actually able to sit down on the floor. And like, yeah, Jabari Smith Jr. is a giant human being. Amen Thompson moving like that just doesn't seem real. And whenever the Suns are playing teams like that, even with some of the upgrades that they've made in that department, they're going to feel it. And then those upgrades in that department, Mark Williams was out, Jalen Green was out, Malawat's not playing yet, Fleming played 4 minutes. So it's just going to catch up to them. And eventually they're going to run out of real estate here, especially with this run of games that they have going on. So they need to get healthy.
I agree 100% on the, I guess it's like roster atrophy, where like, I think it's impressive that we didn't see like Jalen Green being gone on game 1 of the season and being like, oh, that's, I mean, we did see it to some degree early on, but they survived so long without Jalen Green, with Grayson Allen filling in and all that stuff. But when you're down 4 or 5 guys, like at some point, when you move some of your best subs into the starting lineup, then, oh, we need Rasheer Fleming for 4 or 5 minutes, and he's going to foul 3 times, like, and miss a shot and look out of place. So that was going to happen. That's going to happen more if they play good teams, I think. And yeah, I mean, I think we already laid out the identity of this team's pretty set, and maybe it's silver lining that they figured out the depth and the second unit and the roles without Jalen Green and some of the other guys this early, because then you start plugging guys in and you kind of build on top of a foundation of, we know how deep we can be and what our limitations are. Now let's add to it. So that's kind of for me, like, I'm excited to see that. Going back to this weekend, like, they should have lost the Timberwolves game. Let's be point blank there. I thought they actually competed, like, when you just say the word compete, they competed well against the Rockets. I thought it was really physical. They tried their best. They actually, like, for being so undersized, held up best you could imagine. Like, you can only say Devin Booker and Dylan Brooks are pushing Alperen Şengün out of the paint so far. So, yeah, I mean, I still saw last night as super intriguing, super positive, but you just see okay, like that's where this team is. That's where their limitations are. And I don't know if you have any strong Devin Booker takes at this point. Like, he's had a really rough stretch, especially like I looked up 12 November games. I think he's at like 25% from three. Not good. Has had a lot of turnover issues this season, but he has a lot of season to go to be regular Devin Booker, and I'm not super down on him either.
He spent more of the season so far being Devin Booker than not being Devin Booker. And again, this was my number one concern about the team and why I picked them to win 30 games in the first place. But this was like what I expected to see on a night-to-night basis. But it's happening right now just because they're shorthanded. It's not happening because that's what the team is now. There's still time for that to not course correct, but look more like what I expected when they're fully healthy too, and maybe it will. That's exactly why you and I were so excited, curious, interested to see how the next month was going to go, right? Because across this next month, we're going to see them against elite competition. And Minnesota, we saw it. And to your point, not to like play poo-poo parade on what was an incredible win for them. And I'll keep mentioning it. It was an awesome win for them. They deserve all the credit in the world for getting the win. They should have lost the game. Like if Ant makes just one free throw, we're going to overtime instead. And it was a great start to the game for them and a great effort by them. But once Ant took over and got to the paint at will, they had no answers. And Houston, Amen Thompson, living in the paint, they had no answer for him. How much of that was Ryan Dunn being out for this game specifically because he played against Minnesota? Don't know, but I think that defensive personnel in terms of on-ball stuff, we had questions going into the year already. And this is now two of the best guys in the league, to be fair, at getting to the rim. But it's like looking at their schedule coming up. Sacramento, I think we'll see. They had a really tough time on DeMar in the first meeting in the opener. I'm curious to see that game again in terms of just what they've been struggling with defensively so far with the individual guys they've been playing against, even though Sacramento is one of the worst teams in the league. They did have a nice win recently. Oklahoma City on Friday, like no one can keep Shea out of the paint anyway. So how are they going to deal with that challenge? And then Luka on Monday, you've got Amen Thompson again a week from Friday. Maybe that's Kevin Durant. Then you've got Minnesota again. Then you've got Steph back-to-back, the Lakers again. Denver's in there too with Jamal Murray. So how much of what they are doing is able to be sustained against like this level of competition, which is what we're going to see. And hopefully they're healthy. I think everyone is looking for more updates when things like this happen, and rightfully so. What I mean by that is like the team's not playing well with injuries and we're not really getting much information on the injuries. So when they were winning, it was like no one was really like, where are the injury updates? But now that they're losing, they're like, where are the injury updates? Grayson, right quad contusion. Basically, it's one of those deals where we got this information from the NBC broadcast where like he gets kneed there. And then it just is swelled up like crazy, and it's not healthy enough right now. It's not like safe is the word I keep coming to. Like it's not good for him to play on it right now with how swollen it is. Like there's risk for injury there essentially. And then once it swells down, he'll be good to go. But it's like just a matter of waiting for that process to complete itself. And I remember Cam Johnson had one of these where he missed like 2 or 3 weeks. So sometimes it's just a game or two. Sometimes it's a couple of weeks. Jalen's reevaluation point, the 4 weeks is coming up relatively soon. We're over a little over 2 weeks now through that process. So it'll be once we get past this Denver game this weekend and we get into that week of December when the NBA Cup play finalizes, that'll kind of be the moment there where we'll get more information on him. It seems like Ryan Dunn should be back pretty soon. I asked Jordan Ott, I was like, hey, do you want him to stop being a maniac on these dunk attempts? Because he hurt himself on this one and now he's out games. And Ott said no. And I agree with Ott, to be clear. But it's like, I was curious to see if he would think like, yeah, maybe we don't do that anymore. Because he's out of his mind. And then Mark Williams, I will say, this is one of my least favorite things to do, but it leaves us no choice but to when we hear the same thing from a coach over and over again. And we have to kind of like read between the lines with what they're saying. I did take some of Jordan Knott's pregame comments on Mark Williams and playing back-to-back as if he was optimistic, truly optimistic, that he could start playing back-to-back soon. The next back-to-back, to be clear, pending like these additional NBA Cup games being added, I don't think they can be back-to-backs anyway, isn't until after Christmas. So now you get like a full month, and if all the progress that they're seeing goes through, then maybe he can start to play back-to-backs. But it's still this delicate tightrope of just needs to stay healthy in the first place, and then if he can add back-to-backs, great. At the same time, you want to see him stay healthy and play back-to-backs because that's what everyone else in the NBA does.
I'm curious why I might have missed this. Is there a reason they can't choose which day of the back-to-back to do? Like, could he have played?
I tried to ask this and didn't get an answer. Okay. I tried to ask. I was like, is there a strategic element to this with you guys picking the game like based on the opponent, or is this like health based? And I just got a wishy-washy answer that didn't lean one way or the other. Stephen
A. Smith, with all due respect to the San Antonio Spurs, I would have rather had Mark Williams play against the Houston Rockets last night, but you know. But
would you have cruised against the Spurs without Mark Williams? Would it have been a lot more of an up and down ride? And then would you even had a chance against the Rockets? I actually liked it the other way.
And you just say, yeah, let's take the one where we're going to be probably winning already and double down. Yeah, that's true. That's true.
That's like the like half glass empty, half glass full approach. And I'm more on the empty side there. Shocker there. Not surprising. I'm trying to figure out a new way to have this conversation. I didn't even like bring him up specifically in the recap because I've said it like 15 different ways now to start the year, but it's been a rough year for Nick Richards so far.
Mm-hmm.
It's one of those things where he comes over in this trade, and because he plays for, I guess it's because he plays for the Hornets and not a lot of people know about him, that they think like he's a younger player, but he's 27 years old. Like he was drafted in 2020. So he's been in the league for 5 years now. And there's just mental mistakes, being a step out of position, lagging behind in those areas where it's just a consistent, constant thing. And what I was worried about when it was showing last year was like, how does this look against some of the best teams in the league or in a playoff setting? Because like, again, last year we were still expecting them to like be in the play-in, for God's sake. And in this game, like he had a couple of stretches where everything that like me and like the people really like closely watching that kind of stuff are like noticing, like now everyone's noticing because of how bad it went against Houston. And like that kind of stuff that was like very noticeable has still been there throughout the course of the season. And I just wonder how much longer they're going to stick with him. Ott post game was about as blunt as he's been with an answer, and it was still a good answer, and like he provided depth to his answer, but it was about as blunt as he's been answering a question like that. And he just said like, we need all three.
Yeah.
And how I will interpret what we need all three means is when Nick plays 12 or 14 minutes, like we can deal with that. But when he has to play 20 or 25 potentially, like he still only played 22 last night, but his minute totals before that, 5, 8, 11, 14, 15, 10, 8. Like they're purposely using him in these very short blocks. And even Oso is that same kind of big as well. So this 3-man rotation, how much longer do they lean on it? And how much longer do you look at just, again, he's averaging 11 minutes a game in November, Kevin. It's like what does this really do to Kaman Malawach's development / the Suns' overall play? Now, the counterpoint, last night, Fleming comes in 4 minutes, disaster. He plays extremely bad. And it's okay, because that is what is supposed, like, I saw a couple of tweets being like, oh man, he's not ready. He needs to go to the G League or whatever. It's like, no, this is just what rookies look like a lot of the times when they're not like, yes, they're not ready. They're raw. Or whatever.
You use that 4 minutes and like we're gonna lose anyway. That's 4 minutes that's now instead of later. Like,
yeah, it was. I think it was Stephen Noe who posted the video clip out of Chicago where like Noah Senge like played 2 minutes and it was like the worst 2 minutes of basketball anyone's played all year.
That's
it's like
funny.
That's what these guys look like when they're raw and you play them. But that is where, again, I just wonder with like the mistakes that Richards is making, how much longer is this going to be? Is it really like that? Is it detrimental to Malawatch to keep making those mistakes? Does that stagnate his development? That's the part of the process that I don't really understand fully, that coaches know way better than I do.
I interpret we need all three, like they are super different. And I like how, again, they've distributed play aside by the three guys. I like that you start Nick Richards when you need the big body to be physical in that game. Like, I like the concept of it, I guess. But yeah, to your point, it's like, and Malawatch is going to need that too, where he came in and it kind of crossed over before Houston could get their subs in, and Şengün like just spun him and got an easy shot in the paint against him. And it's like, he needs even that one play. That one play is important to get like, dude, this is the big boys now. Like, you've got to get those reps against these guys, and you're going to struggle. That's where they are. They're at a physical disadvantage, yes, but also I think it's just the mental approach of NBA basketball. And yeah, it's like, to go back to that conversation that they're going to have, it's weighing, do you deal with Nick Richards panic throwing the ball away after he catches the ball, gets a rebound, turns and is like, I got to run. And you just like, look where you're passing, bud. But that is a 27-year-old who's been there before. And it's like, when do we hand the keys to the younger guy? Yes. And I think they will keep a 3-center rotation throughout this season. I believe that, as long as these guys are healthy. But I think that Nick Richards' job is, they're going to start having those talks soon.
Yeah, and with the injuries the way that they were, it was like, okay, Fleming's going to be the 10th guy. Let's see him out there. And to like elaborate a little bit more if you didn't see it, just like too aggressive defensively. Like, he's going out there to be aggressive defensively, and the coaches have said when talking about him going back to the preseason, like, all we want is aggression from him. We want him to be like overeager and all that kind of stuff. But he, like, Jabari Smith Jr. like drives by him, and it's like, yeah, Rashir's probably never defended someone in his life who is bigger than him and just as fast as him.
Yeah.
And there's only a few guys like that in the entire league, to be clear. And it's like, someone was like, well, he was going to do this, and like, that's why he was standing there. And it's like, yeah, he's used to standing a step out of position against someone and being able to recover because he's that fast. And it's like, well, Jabari Smith Jr. is like longer and faster, not as fast, but like right around that range. And that's the type of stuff where like minutes in that setting would really, really help. And it's like, again, it's just, are we going to do this in December? Or are we going to do this in March? And if it's trending more towards March, I don't want to be too nihilistic about it, but it's just trending more towards March right now with what they've got. You want to hear something crazy? Mm-hmm. They're 5.5 games up on the play-in line right now. 5.5 games.
That's where it's like the minute
we're 18 games into the year. They're 11-7. The Jazz are in 11th, and they're 5-12. 5.5 games.
Here's the thing: the start has been good enough where even if for the rest of the season they win the games we think, like they lose the games we think they're going to lose to against the clear cut, like the Denvers, the Thunders, Lakers, like all those teams. Every game they've won already is going to help them like at least stay afloat. So I think like, yeah, the losses are going to come soon, but they're going to be right there because as we've established in past podcasts, there are teams with lots of problems that are below them that are not close to fixing those problems. They're enough. I think they're in a good spot. I think we know who this team is, and it's just a matter of I'm excited to see them on a nightly basis against the good teams, I guess. And then I want to see putting Jalen Green and those guys back in this equation.
I think the Sacramento game on Wednesday is actually really big because if they lose that game, Sacramento is in their best stretch of the season. By that, I mean, they've won 2 straight. So not partying just yet, but it's in Sacramento. Never. That building will respond to a good environment. I'm not saying it's a good environment right now because their team is awful, but if their team starts playing well, much like we've seen the Phoenix crowd this year really step it up this year and bring energy, when the team has brought energy, that crowd will do it as well. And I worry about dropping that game because then I was talking about this with people last night. does the league not see giving you a back-to-back with Oklahoma City and Denver and see that as like you're just setting up a team to lose 2 games? Like that feels like that's too unfair.
Rude. Yeah.
Because they go to Oklahoma City, then they come back to Phoenix, and like Oklahoma City, of course, is in the weirdest spot in the league where they're like in the Midwest. So it's like they're an easy, I'm guessing they almost like outside of the LA teams, maybe they have to lead the league in terms of like the back-to-backs that they're involved in Oklahoma City. Like teams are so used to going to Oklahoma City either on the first game or the second game of back-to-back. And before that used to be a varying degree of an issue. And now it's like a nightmare. It's a total nightmare.
You don't have a good choice though, because like you're far from everything. I don't even know. Yeah.
Exactly. So like you're sort of like close enough to everything, but like not at the same time. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, if you haven't been following, Oklahoma City is 17-1. That's what my screen says. They're 17-1. This guy named Jalen Williams, who you might have heard of, the local product, who's like an all-NBA guy. He hasn't played yet this year. They've had other injury problems where it's not like if you looked at the Rockets coming into last night, Kevin, everyone in like their top 5 or 6 or 7 guys had played in almost every game this year. In every game this year. Of course, they lost Fred. They've been down Dorian Finney-Smith, so they've had injury problems. But this was like Kevin's first missed game of the year. Like Şengün Thompson, this team has been down Chet a couple of nights, been down Hartenstein a couple of nights, been down Caruso a couple of nights, been down Wiggins a couple of nights, been down Williams all year. And they're 17-1. And Denver is in this crazy stage where they're 13-4. And it feels like they should be way, way better.
Yeah.
They do have, I don't know if Christian Brown, what his status is, if he came back, but I do know that Aaron Gordon update came out.
He's out a few weeks, I think.
They're going to be missing him for a while. No Christian Brown for them in Memphis last night, at least. They still won that game. Let me see if I can get the update. Oh, yeah, he's out for a while. I forgot. 6 weeks ankle sprain. That was in mid-November. So they'll be without Christian Brown. They'll be without Aaron Gordon. And Cam has not really been playing too well for them. He's starting to piece together a few better games recently. But to that point, like they've dealt with injuries. Cam's not playing that well, and they're 13-4. So this is the toughest part of the schedule by far. Then we won't podcast on that Monday because they play the Lakers, who are also playing extremely well. DA just got hurt. Having a good year for them so far, DA, but they just got LeBron back. Reeves looks like he's going to challenge for an all-NBA spot, and Luka's Luka. So talk about, Sacramento's in here, but this is insane.
Quick news update. News flash. During the podcast, the Suns have assigned Kaman Malowich to the Valley Suns of the NBA G League. So that means he's missing tomorrow.
Just him?
Just him.
Okay, so this is an interesting change.
They are playing tonight. Again, the Rip City remix at Mullet Arena. Go down there again.
Okay. So it's not like a significant change, but what I will say is they're playing tonight on Tuesday. So Kaman essentially can get done with that game and then fly to Sacramento when the game's done. But he is being taken like out of the like the team's like cycle for a second. Like he's not flying with them to Sacramento. He'll be flying by himself, or he's just going to meet them in Oklahoma City for Thanksgiving on Thursday and like stay put on Wednesday. I'm guessing he'll just fly to Sacramento anyway. But it's interesting that Kaman is making that trip and Rashir's not, which would tell me that there's still a chance that Ryan and Grayson will both not play on Wednesday. That's no good.
Yeah.
It's bad.
I would like to not get into how much do you enjoy the NBA Cup, but I am going to kind of get into, okay, if they beat Sacramento, you have the Thunder as the last Cup group play game. So what's going to be fun here is potentially, I think they're still in the wild card. They will be in the wild card mix, even if they don't win the group stage, if I'm remembering correctly, if you want to pull this up. But in any case, if they beat Sacramento, they might want to run up the score as much as possible, knowing that you're going to possibly take a big L against the Thunder. and still have a shot to get into the tournament, which I'm just putting out there to watch tomorrow night, because I always love those games where you're just trying to beat the crap out of someone, even if you're already beating the crap out of them. Yeah.
So the Suns are 2-0 so far, and their point differential is plus 23. The other candidates in the West to finish with a wild card spot. Oh my gosh, Group B, Kevin.
Mm-hmm.
Like I'm sorry for the people. We haven't brought Emirates NBA Cup group breakdowns yet. Apologies for the content you've been waiting for. Group B is the Lakers. And then it's the Clippers, Grizzlies, Mavericks, and Pelicans.
So no worries about that. Right?
The Clippers are 2-0. They still have the Lakers and the Grizzlies left. I think basically what you're rooting for, again, rooting for as a Suns fan with the Emirates NBA Cup. I can't take myself seriously with this. I'm sorry. The Lakers, you want them to run it. You want them to go 4-0, and then you obviously want Memphis to beat the Clippers because Memphis is 1-1 so far. I will say the Clippers and Grizzlies game is game 4, not game 3, so the Suns wouldn't know that result until the end. And then down yonder in Group C, which turned into an incredibly stacked group, Blazers, Nuggets, Spurs, Rockets, Warriors. The Rockets and the Warriors are 1-2, so they're out. They're not getting a wild card spot. They're not getting in. They're donezo. The Spurs are 1-1. They've got Portland and Denver left. The Nuggets are 2-1. They've got the Spurs left, and then the Blazers are 2-1. They've got the Spurs left as well.
We're gonna have to figure this out after tomorrow night, I think, to actually have a good picture. But
so I think what you're rooting for is the Spurs to beat the Nuggets. No, the Spurs to beat the Blazers, and then the Nuggets to beat the Spurs. And that way, and then you're rooting for Denver to, because that would leave another. There is an outcome basically where the Suns are the only team with one loss that doesn't win their group.
Yeah.
Which usually what happens with this is because it's only 4 games and again, Adam, you're trying to be the Champions League, but this is just not they don't do 4 games and whatever. The soccer Kel came out there for a brief second. He made a brief appearance.
Bring him out.
There's always going to be more than one team that has just one loss, and one of them's probably not going to make it, but there actually is an outcome right now because the way that they assign these groups is based off last year's records. So Group B is supposed to have this clear delineation, but it doesn't. And then Group C is actually super stacked and doesn't have that delineation either. Whereas Group A actually looks like the way these are supposed to. And like you're saying, the Sacramento game tomorrow is an NBA Cup game. So they have to win that for sure. If they lose that, they're done.
I think it'd be a nice little get in the tournament scenario with this team. Just they're new together. They already have that competitiveness. I think it'd be fun, but that's all. That's my only take on this matter.
Shout out Colin Gillespie straight up saying, money's on the line when talking about cup games. It's hell yeah, dude. Just call it like it is. I love it.
It's always
let's not beat around the bush here.
It is not insignificant money to those guys on those minimum contracts. Yes.
Yeah, Colin only makes $2.5 million. That's a healthy chunk of change that he would be getting. I think that's it. I'm looking. Yeah, I mean, it's just, again, we're gonna have the same conversation next week, but now I hope and I say this not in a hoping way that the Suns are facing. I hope that the Suns get the steep competition that it looks like they should be getting. Denver is going to be shorthanded, but that's still a really tough game no matter what. And then Lakers, OKC, kind of same thing. I hope they get tested like this because that's what they actually need. If they're going to actually make a run at this and win 35, 40 games, it's not going to be just playing bad teams. It's not like the NFL. In the NFL, look at the gosh darn Jacksonville Jaguars, who are the epitome of mid, and they're going to be an 11 or a 12 win football team because they can just beat bad teams. That's not how the NBA works.
Yeah.
You can't make it that far doing that kind of stuff. So we'll see. All right.
Wow, you have a
Is that
basketball as your prop.
I have a basketball. Look at that. Look at that.
I don't know how much you've consumed the NBC product. I shelled out for the Peacock situation and actually watched because I had to yesterday. Dude, the announcers on the end of each bench is great, though.
You liked it?
I liked it.
How'd the boy Robbie Hummel do?
He's really good. He knows like the little stuff. He's just like Jordan Goodwin's just like an awesome offensive rebounder for a little 6'3" guy. Like he knows his stuff. Like I don't think he's been hidden kind of into the college basketball universe as an analyst. He was really good. Steven Adams.
He's very good at his job, but I hold a personal grudge over him because it was either last year or 2 years ago where Peacock had him on the call between Purdue and Arizona. And I'm like, brother.
Oh, yeah.
How can there not be anything there?
It was
don't put me on the call of a U of A game. Like I'm gonna be biased in some way. It's gonna happen. Had like he's a complete professional and very good at his job, but come on, what are we doing?
Yeah, Josh Pastner was in the studio show that game, I think, and it was like that's a little bouncing, but not enough. Steven Adams, once he got subbed out, asked Austin Rivers, "Can you say hi to my mom for me?" in the middle of the broadcast. So that was also a good bit.
The best part of sitting there, I got two insights. One, there was so they have like the powder and like the stuff with their hands that they go to like before they check in or whatever. There was a pack of gum there, and I was like, okay, who's the pack of gum for? And there was only one piece of gum in it, and it was for Alper and Şengün. And it was extra bubblegum flavored.
That's the insight you want. Dude, I will say, like, if you're...
Just feel like there's better gum for Alper to explore. Maybe he just likes that kind of gum, but I don't know if that's where you should be going with it.
That is really funny. I was going to say... If you ever have a chance to sit courtside or move up or anything, like the difference between even being like 5-8 rows up, good seats, and like courtside is immense. And like you were going off on, you probably saw the crazy like full speed stop Euro moves that Amen Thompson was getting his middies off with. I remember like my only experience was like a preseason game against, I don't even remember, some team from Israel against the Suns, and Luis Scola, just watching old man Luis Scola and how many moves he actually is using every second that you don't see like from a TV screen or something just to get off a shot because he wasn't the most athletic dude in the first place. But anyway, yeah, congrats on getting a great seat for last night. That was a good team to do it. Were there bad words exchanged between the parties and the certain people named Dylan Brooks?
Still too far to like hear specifics, but I could like make out words every now and then. Dylan was active in talking to the bench, not in like a discernible kind of way. Did the broadcast catch when Colin Gillespie not blew a kiss, but gave a kiss to Reed Shepherd after he made the three? I assume they just got it on the broadcast.
It was blown. It wasn't give. What do you mean given, not blown? He blew a kiss.
Well, when you blow a kiss, you go like this, right?
Oh,
he just did like
the
head nod kiss. He did one of those to him.
I don't know. They slow-moed it into a commercial break though, which is really funny.
Oh, okay. So it did get shown. That's good.
Yeah.
And then the only other one, which you could have seen anywhere in the arena, and I hope you did, was that like after all 5 Rockets starters were announced, Steven Adams tried to walk through the line and then like raised his hands as like a emperor from like the 1300s, like greeting his like peasants basically. He just like kind of was like, thank you for your adoration. And like there was no noise or anything. And all of his teammates laughed in that kind of way where they're like, they respect the bit and think he's very funny, but are also kind of like, Steven, what are you doing, man?
The Dylan Brooks foul.
Sometimes you just got to make yourself laugh, Kevin. That's a good life lesson with that. Sometimes you just got to make yourself laugh. He did with that. He did with Austin Rivers asking about his mom.
Yeah. The cameras also caught him after Dylan picked up that foul when Steven was running down the floor and fell like he had gotten shot and laid there for a sec. As he walked back, they got the like wink from Steven Adams, which was good. Winking at his teammates. Like, incredible.
Believe it or not, Dylan Brooks is not going to knock over Steven Adams. Dylan, incredibly strong individual, but Steven Adams is like worth like how many like regularly sized people is Steven Adams worth in strength? Like 14?
Yeah.
Like us.
Yeah.
At least a dozen, right?
Yeah.
This isn't like a how many like 8-year-olds would it take to like fight Steven Adams? Like, no, like sheer strength. How many? Like 14? I think it's 14. I think that's a good number.
That's a good number.
Okay, that's it. I don't think we have any Cats talk. I think that was our version of Cats talk.
No, we won't talk
beat
about
Denver last night.
the Denver. I didn't watch the Denver game. No.
All I saw was Bruce Pascoe tweeted that Carter Bryant and Dylan Harper were there, and it took Denver a really long time to score, so everyone's standing forever. And apparently Dylan Harper sat down at some point. Come on, Dylan. That's why he went to Rutgers, I guess. Like, you don't respect tradition.
Yeah. There's no tradition there, apparently. Oh.
Come on, man.
All right.
What was Ron teaching him growing up? That's ridiculous. All right. We'll be back next week. Really fun slate of games, like we said. And we'll be back on... We got an open week, actually. They're finally going to get some rest, this basketball team. How about it?
We'll make it up.
Monday, the Lakers. And then they play Friday in Houston. Is that the Kevin Durant game? We'll see.
Happy Thanksgiving, everyone.
Bye.